Boom. Let's do this.
Hello. Welcome.
What's up?
Welcome to Revenue Search. This is the show where we dive deep into Bittensor subnets, find out what they're all about and why you might want to invest in them or not. We try our hardest to avoid diving too deeply into the technical side of things. Like to keep the focus firmly on the numbers. Sometimes, not usually, we manage to succeed. I'm Mark Creaser from DSV Fund. We're the first hedge fund to be focused on, to specialize in Bittensor. And my co-host is none other than our CIO, all-round crypto specialist, and sadly, lover of diving deep into technicals, Siam Kid. Who have we got on the show with us today, Siam?
I'm not sure our corporate intro ticks all the boxes. I don't know. That felt weird.
Felt weird.
Yeah.
Just telling people what we're here for.
Well, thank you. Anyway, we have a very interesting guest today, and we have Akshat, which is Subnet 11, Dippy. And so Akshat and Angad, they are two very experienced business owners. They've built, sold things in the real world in the past, and Mark and I have been very impressed with them. And I guess for full transparency, we have already done a sizable OTC deal with Dippy. So like nothing here is financial advice. I've got to make sure all of the, here we go, standard bullshit. So standard bullshit out of the way. Akshat, where would you like to begin? Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, I guess I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company, as you mentioned, called Dippy AI. We make AI companions for Gen Z. So these are characters that people go online with and chat for hours. And we also run a subnet on Bittensor, which is Subnet 11.
So AI companions. Let's unpack this. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah, I guess what has happened over the past few years is loneliness in younger people specifically has really increased. So most people don't have close friends or as much close friends as they used to have. And so people are leaning into AI as a service where they can express themselves, chat with, and just create, they just go online and create their friends for themselves.
Just go and create some friends for themselves and then chat away with them.
Exactly.
And how did you come up with that plan? Why did you start doing this? What were you doing before that? Where did it all come from?
Yes. So the history of the company is we started building a proactive productivity assistant. The idea was that this will be like an assistant that scans your screen and then gives you relevant suggestions. So if you're in a meeting, it'll record meeting notes. If you're watching a YouTube video, it will help you summarize that. But as we launched the product and started handing it out to people, we quickly realized that most people, instead of being productive, were having long conversations with this always present assistant on their Mac. And so that's where the insight was born. We also saw the numbers coming out of a service called Character AI, which is actually the 100th most visited website in the world now. It's the second biggest AI use case after ChatGPT. And we realized that there was this gap in the market where companion products weren't really available on mobile. A lot of these websites started on the web and never transitioned to the mobile era. And so we wanted to build like a great mobile app, similar to how people use iMessage or WhatsApp or Telegram, where they can go online and chat with these AI characters.
What were you doing before Dippy?
Before Dippy, I guess I've always been interested in building products. So before Dippy, I co-founded a company called Wombo. Wombo was one of the first early consumer AI companies. So we would take off-the-shelf AI models, package it in like a consumer-friendly viral format, and then make mobile apps out of it. So our first product was literally called Wombo. The idea was you take a selfie, you choose a song, and the app would make you sing and dance. We launched that just on the App Store, and in a week we had 1 million downloads. In the first month, we had 25 million downloads, and that app scaled to hundreds of millions of downloads. We followed it up later that year with another app, which let you enter a text prompt and create images and art, which was called Wombo Dream, and that had a pretty similar trajectory as well. So I'd say those were like magic trick products wherein users were experiencing what AI was capable of nowadays for the first time.
Well, yeah, I mean the trajectory on that sounds pretty positive. But then back to Dippy. Then, so you were setting out to create something sensible, like an on-screen assistant, and you just
Yeah.
found out that actually people were just flirting with it and having a bit of a laugh.
Exactly. It doesn't seem like many people want to be productive.
So you thought, well, we'll pivot.
So
Yeah, exactly. We pivoted completely. We ended up shutting down the productivity side of the business and focused solely on companionship.
so when someone's having a chat with, so going back to Dippy now, so when someone's having a chat with a fictitious fantasy, and they're talking all sorts of dirt to it, where does all of that chat data go? Like, I take it you're not all in the office just having a laugh at these conversations. Is there a core sanctity of privacy there?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it does go to our database, but it's completely associated with your user ID, which is generated when you sign up on the website. You can also chat anonymously on the web, where you don't associate any private information with the with your account or yourself. And so, yeah, I mean, people are having these conversations, and some of them can go on for hours and hours.
Okay, so if you're logging in anonymously and then having a chat, it's obviously then not saving stuff. So you're having a lower user experience if you then come back to it because you're starting from scratch again.
Exactly. One of the core tenets of our service is memory. So we want the characters to remember everything about you. So like your likes, dislikes, where you're traveling, and that's what we've seen users really like. So the characters naturally will bring up things relevant from your life, just like a friend would, and
Yeah.
recommend things that they think you would like.
So I guess where I'm going at is one of the key concerns a lot of people have with engaging in these types of chatbots is that chat history, that data. What's stopping you from just going, actually, we want to sell up for billions. Here, Google, have all of the chat data. Like,
Yeah, I
what's
guess
stopping you?
so in our privacy policy, we make it pretty clear that we aren't allowed to train models on the chat history. We aren't allowed to sell any data associated with yourself. That being said, we do use the data in an anonymized way to gather signals about what users are liking and disliking.
Okay.
So we'll be testing different models, and we'll see, hey, this model results in 20% higher session times. So we should lean into that. But it's not giving us any insight on like an individual level. It's more of like a cumulative insight.
Okay, because I think that's one of people's main concerns. And so, for those who not haven't heard, I guess how DSV got into this, it's weird because Subnet 11 has been around for a long time, and you've got Dippy Speech as well. And it was always a subnet. When I was looking through Tal stats, I'd just be ignoring it because I just didn't understand the whole sector that you're in. And then I met Angad in Paris, and he Dippy pilled me, and I did a full 180 because I went from going, this is such. I don't get it. This is rubbish. AI can be used for way better things. Um, and then what I didn't realize is how lonely the world is, especially Gen Z. So you produced a tweet today or yesterday, which is this. And I clicked into it, and basically 72% of US teens have used AI companions. And I think what you said is that average user engagement per day is 1 hour. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, it's actually trending towards 1.5 hours. We have some power users who are spending 8 hours a day on the app, which is a bit concerning. So we're also thinking of maybe moderating extreme usage.
Oh my, yeah, it's nuts because like where all of this is trending, without going too off topic, is just I don't know, it's scary. So before COVID, 24% of all US adults were on antidepressants. God knows what it was after COVID. And then obviously we're having Gen Z, which are, they're struggling to decide who's a boy, who's a girl, and hence Dippy. Oh, no, you're not the result of that. Sorry, but I know I got some old school opinions and stuff. So I just didn't get it. But the numbers speak for itself. You've gone from a standing start to what's over 7 million users now.
Exactly. We're about to cross 8 million actually.
Holy shit, in what, 12, 13 months? And your revenue per month is?
Last month it was $50,000. This month we're on track to do 60,000 by end of month. So we're targeting a 20% month-over-month growth. And revenue since start of the year has 4x.
Holy shit. Okay, so this is the title of this podcast. What are you going to do with that revenue?
Yeah, I guess we use that revenue, of course, for like research and development. We're hiring great people to work on the subnet as well as the app. We also do buybacks, as you guys are familiar, opportunistically, I would say, when we feel the market sort of undervaluing our subnets. And we want to continue investing into that.
Amazing.
Where does the revenue come from specifically? So does all of the revenue come from the same place? Does it come from different places? How do you charge people? How many people are paying? Is there ad revenue in there? Is it just user generated revenue? What does it look like?
Yeah, so the revenue includes both ads and subscription revenue from the app. People generally pay for better models, not seeing ads, longer memory, and things like that. I'd say it's like a 50-50 split between ads and subscriptions, just because the amount of time that people are spending on the app greatly increases our chances to show them more ads over the span of 1.5 hours. That's sort of the split. So it's coming solely from the Dippy app.
And are the adverts tailored to what people are talking about, not talking about? Are the two things linked?
Not right now, but I think that's where we're headed. So we're testing this format on the web actually, where it takes your last 5 or 10 messages and tries to connect that to like an advertiser. And so if you're talking about maybe, hey, like I'm traveling to San Francisco and I really like coffee, it will recommend you coffee shops in the form of a message from the character that you're chatting with.
That's cool. Okay.
And so the ads at the moment, are they just display ads alongside the chat, or are they positioned as chat?
Yeah, so right now on mobile, which is where the bulk of our ad revenue comes from, they're really standard ads. So like full screen pop-up video ads playing or displaying a product. But on the web is where we're experimenting with the format that you mentioned, wherein a chat bubble will pop up and the character will recommend you a product.
That is, yeah, that'll be very effective. Advertisers would love that.
Yeah, it's natural. Like your friend recommends you a coffee shop that you should check out when you're traveling to San Francisco.
But you can pay to have no ads, right?
Exactly.
Do you have it?
But if you pay to have no ads and you still ask for a coffee shop recommendation in San Francisco, what happens?
It doesn't do anything right now. It might basically answer whatever the LLM knows. But over time, we might connect it to the web so it can pull up sources and recommend you coffee shops. But we find most of our users aren't really talking about this stuff. They're usually creating some fantasy with their favorite fictional characters.
They haven't got time to go to coffee shops, have they, for spending
Exactly.
chatting to their AI now?
Okay. So I know you've got something to show us, but I just want to get a recent, I guess, threat. It's a threat question, basically. So as some people know, I love Elon. I follow everything he does. I read everything he does. And he has recently come up with Grok companions. And he's spent a big chunk of his, big part of the XAI team has built this companion thing. And he's basically overnight just completely validated your entire business model. Just like that, the richest person on the planet, with the biggest AI supercomputer on the planet, it's just validated your whole business model. So that's a good tick for us because, yeah. However, that did lead a tiny bit of concern because, you should never fade Elon. He always wins. The time frame always changes. But so how are you going to compete with that? The sheer resources that he can put behind it.
Yeah, I mean, we, as you mentioned, see this as like an incredibly bullish sign for the space. It seems like everyone's sort of catching on that, hey, people do want like a companion out of this AI service and not just like an assistant, as ChatGPT and Grok and all of these companies have been focused on. That being said, like the suite of features that you need to build to have like a complete companion experience is still pretty different from what Grok offers right now. So there's one companion right now on Grok. We have 500,000 user-generated characters that you can discover and create. And on the Grok side, there's also this concern that I personally have is, would you prefer to, I guess, chat with a companion in the same app where you're also working or using Grok as like an assistant? So that does make me feel like it's not the ideal UI. Maybe Elon chooses to completely pivot the company to be like a companion product, but right now it's pretty much like a hybrid where it's trying to do everything at once. But we feel like, at least from what we've learned from the users, there's a lot of things you need to build solely for the companion space. And that's what we remain focused on. Um, if Grok does decide to pivot to that direction, then it will be like an interesting competition or thing to witness. But right now, as it stands, Grok is still like a productivity app. That's where the majority of their revenue and usage comes from. I think they're experimenting with the companion space, but it's not clear whether both can coexist in the same product.
Cool. And what was it that you have to show us today?
Yeah, I guess tomorrow is when we're launching a huge new revamp for Subnet 11. So just for a bit of context, Subnet 11 till now has been focused on model training. So specifically, we were focused on training role play models for the Dippy app. We're now sort of pivoting away as the app transitions from being focused on just text to audio, video, and media in general, to a media inference product. And so I had like a sneak peek for people who are sort of
Yes,
tuned
please.
in to revenue search. And I'll just share my screen. Um,
And to the screen. Here we go. Hey, hey.
so this is the new Dippy Studio, specifically Subnet 11 Dippy Studio, which will now be focused on enterprise grade generative media inference. So as you can see, we have all of these characters rolling in. This will be like our first product, so to say. So we let users train custom, what I call LoRa models on Flux. And what that means essentially is the character's face and aesthetic gets embedded in the model, and then users can generate similar pictures of a character within the app. So if you want your character on the beach, it will generate an image of this specific character on the beach while maintaining the consistency of the character. Um, but more generally speaking, our focus as a company has shifted away from just model training to now media, or like just text inference to now media inference. And what we found out on the Bittensor side was there's a lot of great LLM inference products. So there's Targon, which who we work closely with. There's Shoots, there's 19, but we
19.
didn't really find any, I'd say, like enterprise grade, and I can dive into what that means in a bit, media inference products. So the Web 2 version of that will be you have companies like Together who are focused on text inference. They also offer the ability to generate images and video, but that's not something that they specialize in. And by specialize, I mean that the image inference is often slow, it's really expensive. They don't offer all the features around the product since they're largely still like a text inference product. And we think the market sort of played out really similarly on the Bittensor side, where you have Shoots, you have 19, you have Targon. Some of them do offer the image side of things, but their model variety is really limited. The speed isn't where it needs to be used in like a production environment, um, and it's not as fast as it could be. And so that's where Dippy Studio comes in. We're focused solely on image inference to start with, and then expanding to different modalities like audio, video, and so on. Um, so this is sort of like the core tenets of the product. We want to be production grade from day one. So Dippy will be the first anchor customer for Dippy Studio. So we'll integrate the subnet within the app, and the subnet will power 100% of the images produced on Dippy's app on day one. So we'll be launching on testnet tomorrow, and we'll be monitoring for any exploits that miners may come up with, and then integrating with the Dippy app directly, just to create like a sense of trust that this is a subnet that can power millions of users, and also it gives us like a really good feedback loop because if anything's wrong with the subnet, our app goes down, which is where most of our revenue comes from. So we're incentivized to fix it immediately.
Yep.
We're also building this custom pipeline where we think we'll offer the fastest inference for any image or media model that's out there. So we're optimizing these in-house, and the miners will be running these optimized versions for people to.
Wow.
Um,
Faster than
so
19.
yeah, we'll be putting out some benchmarks shortly as well. But I
Nice.
think by far we should be the fastest inference platform for media generation. Um, So I guess this sort of repeats what I just said. Then we have this.
Okay. So, okay, I'm just casting my eyes forwards here. So, how how long do you think it will be till I can create my own little avatar that I chat with that looks very much like Margot Robbie, sounds very much like Margot Robbie, and when I'm chatting with her, I'm seeing video like I'm doing a Zoom with her. How long do you think Dippy is away from doing that?
I think real-time video is maybe
Yeah.
still a few months away, but you
A
can
month?
create
So, a
a
few
few months.
months?
A
Are
few
you, wait, are you
months.
joking?
No, I think like the pace at which these things are moving is really rapid. So I like you can create a character that looks like Margot Robbie right now on the app. With the image product, our hope is that as you're chatting with this character, the if you're chatting with her and you take her on a coffee date, the background will change. So she'll now be sitting in like a coffee shop. And that's sort of the hope with Dippy Studio as well, that we'll be able to do this so quickly that it feels like video, where the images will change as you type. But video is still a few months away.
Wow. Wait, so you can have, let's say, Zoom quality chats with your fictional character, and you're months away from that.
I do believe so. We're also
Holy
working.
shit.
We're also working with this company called Animation Inc., which will introduce essentially like interactive 3D characters. So I can quickly maybe show you their website as well. But the idea is that the character will sort of react to whatever you're saying. It'll get angry if you say something that it
Yeah.
doesn't like.
And that's
And
what the
this will
Grok companion looks like.
exactly. So this is something. This is a company that's working on democratizing that, and they've been working on it for many many months. But the idea is you'll be able to create your own custom character and chat with it in real time.
Jesus Christ, you're a bigger sleeping giant than I thought you were. Any other questions, Mark? Jesus.
So many questions. Yeah. So your previous project Wombo wasn't on Bittensor. Why did you decide to come onto Bittensor for Dippy? And what's special about Bittensor? Why? How are those? Cause I know you're using other subnets as well to build your platform. Talk to me for a minute about how important Bittensor is versus doing it on your own.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we were attracted to Bittensor was we were looking to train our own in-house models. This is largely what like it doesn't seem like from the outside, but this is largely like a model training business. So all we do on the AI side is test different models with our users and figure out what moves the needle on engagement, revenue, retention. And so the typical way that companies in our space have trained these models is go to VCs, raise hundreds of millions of dollars. So Character raised like $150 million, train their own models, and then test and deploy all these models, hire a full team. So you have like a 40-person team just working on creating these models. And so as like a small company that had just raised a pre-seed, it was really hard to do that from the get-go. And that's sort of where Bittensor came in, where we got access to worldwide talent. We've met people from Anthropic mining on our subnet, and we've just met like wonderful miners from across the world. And the ability to train these models in a distributed way. So anyone from anywhere can contribute their ideas on what makes a good role play model. And our job then becomes really simple. We want to take those models, test them in the app, and measure whether they move the needle on engagement or attention. And so that's where Bittensor came in, I'd say. It sort of removed that barrier to entry to the space, wherein we didn't have to do all of that, be insiders in Silicon Valley, raise hundreds of millions. We could just access this protocol where anyone could contribute their mind and energy to, and we have had some great results from it.
Fantastic. Let me just my notes then. Let me check I've got this all right. Over 70% of US teens are using some sort of your AI chat. That's a big number.
Yeah.
It was bobbing around 60 minutes a day average. Now you're saying it's heading towards 90, and you've got some people who you're thinking about restricting because they're doing it 8 hours a day.
Exactly.
Revenue is coming in 2 ways. It's coming in through subs. They're paying you to not see ads, and it's coming in from ads where you are showing ads. It's roughly 50-50. The revenues are going up by about 20% a month at the minute, 50K last month, 60K this month. And you're working on embedding ads in the character chat. So rather than having a display ad on the screen, it will be in the chat, and also working on targeting that ad more specifically to the user rather than just showing them a generic display ad, which we think might unlock something pretty special. And importantly, it seems for Siam, video of Margot Robbie is coming. And this is a joke. Yep. It's just months away, and both of us think we're expecting you to say 2028, 29. Like, no, we'll have that by Christmas. And for anybody that's holding your alpha or thinking about it, the important thing is, well, what are you doing with the revenue? And we know you're doing buybacks of your own token with the revenue. That's my summary. Have I got all of that right?
Exactly right. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
The moment you have Zoom quality, real-time video chats, I don't think, like, for me, that is the rocket launch moment, because I just did a quick search, because everyone knows where I'm going with this. Let's share this image.
I know where you're going. You're going to a coffee shop in San Francisco and waiting for Margot Robbie to turn up.
I just typed in OnlyFans revenue. OnlyFans takes 20% of creator earnings, and even with that 20%, they made 6.6 billion in revenue. surely this then you start eating into that massive, eating a massive chunk of that 6.6 billion in revenue. Surely that's if you want.
Yeah, there's many industries, right? There's also like therapy as a use case that we're exploring pretty
Ooh, okay.
deeply. Because a lot of these users don't have anyone to chat with, and we've seen examples of people being like, "Oh, it's 3 a.m. Everyone else is sleeping, and I just need someone to chat with because I'm going through
Yeah.
something." So there's that use case. There's obviously the OnlyFans side that you highlighted. There's also people creating fictional fantasies. So if you really like Harry Potter or really like some of the Disney characters, you sort of create like a story within within, I guess, your your own character and the Disney character going somewhere or doing something and so on. So there's like a lot of these, I would say, like entertainment plus um, maybe therapeutic categories that can be targeted.
Shit.
I know. And the thing is, we already knew quite a lot about this because
Yeah.
but there seems to be more. There's always more.
There's
But
always more.
yeah, that's me out of questions. That has been a fantastic
Yes.
half hour. Thank you ever so much.
Yeah. And before we go, I'd just like to say, in business over the years, I've been screwed over many, many times. And I want to just say how honorable Angad and Akshat are because we were doing our OTC deal. And what we didn't know at the time is that they had a 50K, 45K buy back and burn that they were planning. And, you know, all the contracts were all done and dusted. And we did the OTC, and then they did their buyback and burn, and we only realized in hindsight that they could have easily done the buyback and burn, and if you look at the price, the chart just went nuts, and they could have easily done that before our OTC deal. But the fact that you guys did that, you know, afterwards, you could have easily, you know, got a way better deal by doing that before. So again, that just shows the integrity of your team, you two. So I massively applaud that, and you know, credit where credit is due. Not many people, you know, showcase good things that happen. People always focus on the negative. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we see this as like a long-term partnership. So short-term price action isn't really something we optimize for. And you guys were early believers in this space as well as the subnet.
Yes, we are, and we believe in the subnet more now than we did half an hour ago. So that's a fun.
Amazing.
Give me Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie.
Siam, we don't. I don't think we've got any more revenue searches confirmed, have we, to tell people about?
We're taking it easy. I'm not back in the UK for another week and a bit. So
Siam's away. We'll get some more lined up. But this one's been a good one, and yeah, out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the usual places, as well as on the DSV Fund website and on X. But if you've tuned in, thank you very much for watching. Akshat, thank you very much for sharing. Siam, thank you for staying out of the weeds as much as you possibly could. Really appreciate it.
I went into the dirty weeds.
I know you did. I know. Unbelievable. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Cheerio.
Bye.